All right, hey, welcome to Running Trains Live, all part of Third Rail Thursdays. So glad you could join me and my wife, the greatest moderator on YouTube. Thank you so much. I have a new tripod here. I'm trying to adjust. Sorry. So I got two trains running. It's the two brand new locomotives I got for Christmas. Right, camera's here. And they run super well, so I'm excited about that. They have not left since my last live show. I got two long trains running, and we'll see how the time goes, but I'm hoping I can park some of those non-buffered tank cars into the spur tracks here, or the sidings. I took them out because I was doing some work. That's right, I was actually doing scenery on my layout during the short lockdown in Ontario right after Christmas break. So you'd think that I would do train stuff during my Christmas break, which is 2 weeks, but we spent a lot of time with family and that was so much fun, I just didn't get around to working in here. And then the government said, school online for 2 weeks. So I took advantage of that. Greg, don't tell anyone. But did my schoolwork online, then I hop in here and spent 1 to 3 hours a day plugging away, doing some things that you won't see because it's under the layout, getting wires tightened up, which I've been meaning to do for a long time. And I add some lights, which you may have seen in the opening shot before the show started. But back to my spiel, it is Third Rail Thursday, and if you're here early, I said in the chat, I almost forgot. In fact, I did forget up to 7:30. I just kind of finished my work, closed my laptop. 7:30, I watched some TV. Then I remembered I have a live show. So I scrambled for a thumbnail and somewhat tidied the train room up a little bit so I can walk now. And here we are. Usually Chris sends me a reminder, but I think Chris is busy. Speaking of Chris, look at that in a second. Speaking of Chris, he went live last week. Great show. Check it out. He has so many cool things that's coming up with his channel and his layout. So check that out. And of course, our good friend DaveCo, his last live show was 2 weeks ago because he's in full dad mode. DaveCo, as we call him. Which means he will not be hosting the first week of February. We'll have a special guest host, I believe. Stay tuned for that. And I'm not even sure, I don't think Chris is in the chat to confirm this, but I don't think there will be a GVO after dark. We apologize, but January has been super crazy. Schoolwork is in full mode. Dave's in full dad mode. And Chris is on vacation, so the three of us, for the first time ever, there will not be a GVU after dark in January. I'm not sure what Roger's going to do. Roger Coleman, look, if you want to call me, just, talk it out. Next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, that's okay. That's right, Greg, no GVO. But hopefully Chris can confirm that. So I'm not sure what we're going to do next Thursday night at 8 for an hour. I don't know. Good luck to you. Okay, not too long ago was yours truly birthday. Feels good to be 25. Beer's nice for 25, a few grays for 25, but eh. But my good friend Chris, go here, go home, he dropped off a birthday gift for me, which was totally unexpected and totally unnecessary. And believe it or not, I did not peek, so I have no idea what's in this bag. Okay, fine, I'm 26. Chris goes all out when he wraps gifts. Christmas, birthday. So I'm gonna do that. I'll do it after. I really want to show you what I did because if you've been following me for a long time in these live shows, you know how my process works. I come in the training room, I stare for 30 minutes at my layout and then realize I don't want to do anything, and I walk out. And I toss and turn at night, I can't sleep, I'm at work thinking of what I want to do, and then a year later I finally do it. So one of my things that I wanted to do was I wanted to tidy up my wires, mostly for all the lights. Because if you deal with just plug lights from Windows Scenics, you know how fine and thin those wires are. And one wrong tug, they will break. So if you're familiar with the system, you have like a receptor and a like fishing wire of a line goes in, you plug it in, boop, and then for me it just dangles under my layout because the wire is so thin. I'm afraid to to pin it or to tape it or something, so it's just dangling. So it's dangling. So if I go to my layout to do something, I snag the wire and it doesn't just pull out; it actually rips. So the wire is still in here, and then this is not stripped, and it's very hard to strip the Windows Scenics wire, even though I have these fancy wire snippers that Dave got me. It's like if you use your X-Acto knife or a blade and just kind of slowly scrape away the plastic, and if you're not careful, you can cut the wire, and it just keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And anyway, Stress City. So I said, no, I'll do it later. And I think I showed you, let's go for a little trip. I'm pretty sure I showed you the lights on this building. Some were not working, and that's because, again, like I said, the wires were disconnected. So I finally, they've been disconnected for a long time. I finally got on my hands and knees, went under the layout, and fixed all the wiring. So let me give you a light show. Boom. So my pointer stick. This light here actually burnt out because I may have hooked it up to a higher voltage power pack, and I heard like that sound a light bulb makes when it burns out. So this guy here takes 3 guys to change a light bulb on this factory. So I think I'm gonna leave it burnt out because eventually I want to put a light in the bay here, loading bay. I don't want to compete with this overhead light. So I kind of took a lemon made lemonade. So it's burnt out, but I have all 3 bays, and if you can see it, the door here has a light. And then this guy in a smoke break here, light. And this light over here, for that door. And you'll notice this light over here is like a white light, and this is like a warm light. And that's because the left is HO, and this is N scale. So I prefer the white light personally, but I wish I just kind of said in the package. So don't think you can get like warm or light in HO. It's either HO warm or N scale white, which is kind of weird. So I fixed all that. Very, very happy. I really hope to post a video on how I did it because it took some doing. I'll explain in a second. But while I was, fixing the lights, I added 2 more lights. These are brand spanking new. So I may have to turn on the brightness, but for now, I have a light for the entryway here and a light over here so people can get to their cars safely. So that's pretty exciting. Let's go to the yard. So that light's always been there. Again, the warm HO. But way back there behind the auto rack, I put, finally, like, I don't know, 2 years, I've been wanting to put a light on that little yard shack, and I did it, and boom. But I didn't stop there, because you know what? I'm under the layout, I'm not here very often, so I'm gonna add more lights. So, I'll walk slow so you don't get sick. I added a front porch light onto Drew's house, and a front porch light onto John 2618's house. He was tired of the raccoons rummaging through the garbage, so this light, I'm not sure if it's a sensor activated, but nice and bright. And of course, you're familiar with the super bright gas station. And the last lights I put in, which I'm not super thrilled about, are the street lights. They're not very bright. I'm not sure that's done on purpose. Yeah, John's light's on, but no one's home. So I put it comes in a package of 3, so I put 3. So 1, because again, prototypically on my parents' street, there is a street light here, which, fun fact, my brother and I broke years ago playing football. So I think it still flickers. I'm not sure, maybe they replaced it now, but. So this one's prototypical right in front of my parents' place. And I put one over just down the road here, and one back here. So I may add more to add more light. I don't know. I don't know. The yard here is pretty dark, so I might have to add some yard lights, like Dave did on his. I also have. Turn on what? Oh. Yeah, Mike, good idea. I might. See, I have all the Windows Synth switch lights on one switch, which is, you know, good and bad. But I might dim these here, the gas station lights. Yeah, put some lights in the yard for sure. Man, it's not like easy, that's for sure. And then of course these here are not within Scenics. Those are on a different switch, which I made a video about. So there you go. I was turn the lights back on 1 second. There we go. I was so happy to get that done finally. There we go. Was that honey?
I love the lights on your track.
Oh, thank you. So here with the lights back on, you can see. Here you can't see, they're so tiny. Pointer stick. There's the street lights. So when the main lights are on and I turn my lights on, I can't tell if they're on or not. So when I first installed them and I turned them on, I was like, oh no, they don't even work. Again, not easy to install. So I was pretty upset, but I turned the lights off and I saw this little glow. I was like, okay. That's good. So one of my goals as I was doing this, I thought, you know what, these lights aren't very bright. So I might have every light kind of spotlight a scene or something, so that's not a waste. We'll see. Okay. Oh, another update, since the layout update. If you watched my last live show, I hurriedly came into the train room after talking in the chat at 8 o'clock, and I bumped the duck lift and derailed my trains. I shouldn't call it a duck lift. It's actually a crawl under, not a duck under. I have to crawl under this thing. I can't duck. So I was crawling, but I got up too fast and lifted the whole thing with my back. So the train's derailed, but didn't hit the floor. Nothing broke. So I was pretty happy. When I was taking the duck lift off, I noticed that all the track here, here, and then here and here, it all lifted because of course it's attached. This track's glued down. So it lifted the rails right off the ties, and if you worked with flex track before, you know how hard it is to get the rail back into the clips of the ties. So that really upset me, and I thought, that's it. I'm done. This hobby, I'm packing it up. I'm taking it apart. Of course, I text Chris and Dave right away, and they kind of walked me off the ledge. And Chris said, it's not a huge deal. It's a small piece of track. You can just replace it. And I said, I don't want to do that. And so Dave said, how about you just crazy glue or super glue the rail back on the ties? And that's what I did. I'm not sure if you can see it. Maybe not. There was some discoloration here. So I glued the rail onto the ties. So it's a little bit higher because I didn't file down the clips. But so far so good. So thanks, Dave. This duct lift is not like what's the foolproof? Like it's not going to last much longer, I don't think. It's going to take some repairs. And now I got to be careful when I'm crawling under not to come up too fast. Because, yeah. Anyway. Thought I'd share it with you. Got a little overzealous maybe with the putting in lights. So I bought more of these. I'm going to put these over in the yard there. And I bought some more flex track. Because I thought, oh, I have time, I can, you know, put my industry in here. But I ran out of time, and now it's looking like maybe March break, maybe this summer, who knows. If you go on lockdown, then maybe sooner, I don't know. Not that I want to go into lockdown. Okay, so other than lights, you may have noticed, maybe not, I added some grass and the curb here to finish the street. Some bushes. So prototypically, again, if this is real life, my parents' house, street lights legit, and then another person's house would be right here, not train tracks. So, like from this patch of grass on to the tracks is somewhat prototypical. I was debating putting up a fence here, but I don't think so. I think it's going to ruin the look. I'm not sure. Also came pretty close to ballasting this track. But again, ran out of time. So much to do. My list was getting longer and longer as I installed each light and fixed up my wiring. Okay, you know what? Let me show you my wiring. Just in case that video doesn't get posted for another few months, knowing me. Because again, if you're like me and you are not a fan of the Woodland Scenics super fine lights, then you may appreciate this little trick. You're getting a peek like behind the curtain. There's a vase. There we go. So this rat's nest used to be under my layout. Look how fine those wires are. Super, super fine. So what DaveCo does, my good friend DaveCo, what he does is, and he told me to do this, he solders bigger wires to the smaller wires. So that's what I did. Took a long time, but oh my gosh, it pays off. This could probably be a little neater organized, but no one's gonna bump it. It's not gonna get pulled. The thicker wires underneath are all stapled, like kind of pinned to the layout. It's very neat. I'm not gonna show you right now because it's dark, but it's way, way much better than it was before. So much better. I'm not afraid of snagging these little tiny wires. And I think, I want to say this wire is 22 gauge. It's my favorite. It's not too big, not too small. It is the, what do you call it? Threaded. It's not solid wire. Just what I'm used to. So every light, I think every light, except for the street lights, every light has a black and red wire soldered to it. And in this case, because again, if you're familiar with Within Scenics, they have these little ports and you plug in like one light to a port. Well, I have numerous lights and I don't want to buy a bunch of those ports because A, they're expensive and take up a lot of room. So I think I wired 3. Yeah, you can see here, if not more. Did I wire 4? I may have wired 4. 3 or 4 lights to one wire. So I just plug in one wire to the port and then hit the switch, and that one port will turn on 3 or 4 lights at the same time. Probably not recommended by Within Scenics, but I'm taking a chance. So I think all the lights of my 3M warehouse are only using 2 ports, which is really good. I like that. Two or 3. Oops. There we go. So yeah, it takes more time in some ways, but oh my gosh, it pays off in the long run if you solder bigger wires to those small, very hard to strip wires. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate the words of confidence there. I'll do a video, that's about it. I'll do a video. One of these days. Yeah, 40. Welcome to the party. Just showing my new lights. Oh, okay, another thing that I'm really happy how it turned out. I got a bunch of these from a family friend who 3D printed me some fire hydrants. Again, I think I showed you them before on this live, one of my live shows. So again, I finally got around to painting them. I'm hoping it focuses. There it is. So here in Ottawa, at least, they are yellow with blue caps, and I try to rust it up a little bit. Sorry for the unfocusing. So I did 3 of those. I crazy or super glued a little pin so I could stick them in. I'm not sure if you saw them earlier, but there's one there. Again, prototypical, because the people beside my parents' place, they do have a fire hydrant. And I can't remember where the other one is, but I put one here. Figured it was pretty reasonable. Yeah, it's a modified push pin, pretty much. I glued a push pin. No, it's not a push pin. It's like a sewing pin, maybe? Is that what they're called? Anyway, double the size, so I just snipped the actual pointy part off. And that's sharp enough to go into the foam. But let me tell you, super gluing this pin onto this, not fun. Not easy to do. So again, from afar, looks great. You go close, you kind of see the imperfections, but I'm so happy. Again, check. Is that right, Edward? The color of the fire hydrant determines the pressure, huh? I know the classic, when you think of fire hydrant, you think of red and white, but here in Ottawa at least, they're yellow and blue with rust or chipped paint. And some, of course, have the flag, because right now we got a bunch of snow and all you can see is the flag sticking out. But I thought I wouldn't go that far. It was kind of silly. Pan along with that CN-9. You got it. Let me speed up a little bit. A little faster. Okay. Greg wants some rail fanning. I will give you some rail fanning. It is Running Trains Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, jeepers. If you're just joining, there will not be GVO After Dark next week. One reason being that Dave is too busy, so it just will not be the same without him. Yes, I do run HO. I've been like through Tweed. Thanks, Greg. This was a gift for my kids, actually. It was a big surprise on Christmas. Again, I didn't ask for anything for Christmas, train-wise. I just told my wife, you can surprise me, buy what you want. So she got me the, excuse me, the red and gray war bonnet Santa Fe, which I love. And my kids got me this. So yeah, Greg, you're thinking of getting it. I recommend Athearn. You can't go wrong with Athearn. And yes, Thailand, those kids are keepers. So there's the unit my wife bought me. It's funny because previously, like before Christmas, she kept on saying, why don't you buy like other Santa Fe's? I was like, eh. So that's something I would never buy myself, but I'm glad that she bought it for me because it's always nice to have something different than the blue and yellow. And I thought for a change, I'd run the trains in the same direction. Usually I have them crossing each other, but why don't you buy other locos? Yeah. Oh boy. Bubs, you still there? What kind of SD is this? I have no idea what these are. Okay. I still have to do a video on these two locomotives. I like to do a video on these locomotives because, just a short one, so that I know what I have in stock. If I'm local shopping, I just go through my playlist on YouTube, like, okay, I have that one, I have this one. Kids do come in handy. I'm telling you. I'm spoiled. They buy me nice stuff. One son got me a train, the other one got me a new tripod. Okay, I'm gonna sit down here. Okay, I saw just a few questions flash by. The first one is, the duck lift is wired. Well, it's capable to be wired, but because my track layout is small enough, there's no need. So I built it with the capability of plugging it in, so it's wired. But I don't bother now because there's no need. I thought it was all cool, and I, set it all up. I got the male and the female connectors, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be so cool. It turns out I don't need it. It works just fine. The other question, this is a Zephyr DCS51, which I absolutely love. I got it secondhand from Chris, and it's not let me down. There's lots of videos on YouTube how to use it. The program, the manual, easy to read, easy to follow. I can program my trains, my locomotives on it. A couple live shows back, I showed you how to switch the Walther switch machines with this thing. I mean, there's lots you can do that I don't, but I love it. And I ran, again, one live show I ran like, what did we get up to? 12 locomotives maybe? 8? And it was fine. Got a little warm, but no smoke. Yeah, Mike, I was telling my wife last night because maybe some of you guys watched it, but Big Bill had Bill Brennick, the track planner, who I find very, very interesting. So I watched him. I stayed up late to watch him. And my wife looked at me and said, do you want to move to a bigger place so you can have a nice big layout? Yeah, eventually. But I said, I do not want a lift out or a duck under in my next layout, if possible, because they're a pain in the butt. They're a pain in the butt. Necessary, but if you can avoid it, man. But like James Galton has an awesome, if you haven't seen James Galton's lift up gate, it's really, really well done. But of course he has the advantage because he's a carpenter. But he did a bang up job on the lift out gate. There's swing gates out there. There's true duck unders. Again, this is not a duck under unless you're 3 feet tall, maybe 2 feet tall. Yeah, bigger house, bigger layout. Come on. And then she said, or asked me, would you have like 3 levels, 2 levels? I said, no helixes, no. No, I'm cool with 1 level.
By the way, Levi River is now our favorite person.
Oh, you like Ian?
I like Ian.
His name's Ian.
Yeah, he said that we're too young to have kids in their 20s. So.
Thanks, Ian.
Let's give him a prize.
Yeah.
Nicest comment of the night. Prize.
There you go, Ian. You win my wife's award for nicest comment of the night. Yeah, Roy, if you look close enough, you can see there's a guy in there wearing a Container Man 68 hat, and he's eating Taco Bell. And I think he's on his phone driving. Yeah, that must be you, Roy. Look closely, you can see. Yeah, B&H Railroad. Darren has a nice system too for his. What's his name? Oh, Dave from Crooked River Eastern. He has a nice one. Silly Schooly Killy River Valley there. If he's still in, John, if you're still in the chat. His is, I've never seen before. It's what did he call it? It's like a glide system. You lift it up, it kind of just like it elevates. So you can lift it up and then duck under it and then put it back down again. Really cool. So there's lots of cool things you can do. I just find, after watching Roberts from Australia, the CXX Mads swing gate, and it kind of broke his first attempt,